Good day, everyone! Welcome back to the channel, and this video is myself and Jason Rulo. He's been to every single World's Toughest Mudder since 2012. So have I. He's run every single one. I've run some of them, and I've also been there to interview elite athletes, regular folks. I've been as steeped I have as much World's Toughest Mudder knowledge, I would say, as anybody still alive today. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. We did a longer series last year, which we'll link below, but this video is going to be about what you might expect at this year's World's Toughest Mudder and how you can get the most mileage possible by listening to two wise men.
Here we are, Jason. It's been another year. I can't believe it. And today's been an interesting day already in terms of what's been going on in the group. But I can tell you it's got me fired up about the event. We just talked offline, and I told you WTM sneaks up on you, right? And even this year, even more, because is it a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier?
It's, well, I guess I think it's just a week earlier, but I always go by here in Missouri. It's deer season around this time. And usually World's Toughest is the first weekend of deer season. And I actually get to make the first weekend of deer season this year. But the last time I remember it being this early was way back in New Jersey. It was like the first one I did, I think it was this early. But other than that,
so it gets to be mid-October and someone posts like 40 days till World's Toughest, and I'm like, holy shit. So this year it's even sooner. We're recording this 10 days out, I think, right? Or no, 13 days out. It's Monday. I was thinking it was Wednesday for a second.
Well, 12, 13, whatever's close.
But we want to do this. This is mostly for the new folks, although obviously veterans can enjoy this as well. But last year, countless people came up to me and said, thank you so much for putting that out. And I said, you're welcome. And please also thank Jason. So I thought, let's not do a whole series again. We can link that below, or in however you're listening to this, I'll link last year's, it was like 4 or 5 episodes. But we'll give them a pretty good rundown from this year. But before we do that, I want to just kind of let people know kind of who we are and why they should listen.
Matt, get this straight. This is a hype video.
Yes.
This is, as much anything, this is a hype video to get everybody excited and ready to roll with WTM. This is the kickoff to the whole.
Thank you. But I am hyped as of like this morning. I'm hyped.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, listen, dude, it's like I just got back from all this travel. I was in Croatia. I got all this high rock shit going on, but I'm now all dialed in on WTM. But let's tell people, Jason, how many events have you done? What brings you to this call?
I believe it's 12. I don't know. I've lost count. All but one. And then obviously we lost one due to COVID, but I did not do the first one. I didn't know about it, but all the rest of them I've done. So I believe it's 12 is the count. I don't know, but it's an annual event for me, just like an automatic thing. So I've been around since the beginning to basically, so I wish I would have known about that first one, but yeah, it's an annual event for me. I just love getting together with the crazies and participating in this thing every year.
And what's your, just real quick, what's your highest mileage, highest finish year?
21 in Laughlin. I got 75 miles. So I earned my silver bib, and I was on my way last year. And then the buzzsaw that was all those crazy obstacle failure penalties, which I never usually fail obstacles. I was failing way a lot of penalty laps, and like 2 o'clock in the morning, my race fell apart. Still got on the podium for my age group, but my chances of getting the belt buckle were gone. But 75 and 21 was the fastest, my most mileage.
Congratulations. What'd you get on the podium?
I was on third place, 65 last year. So
for what's your age group though?
What is it? 40, I can't remember. 45 to 49. I'm 46. So 45 to 49 age group.
All right. So I've also been to every single event you have. We both missed 2011 because we didn't know about it till we saw the amazing videos and we're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So I've been to every one. I've done 1 or 2 laps a bunch of the years. 2014, I went for it, bailed at midnight when the tornado hit. 2016, I went for it, did the whole 24 hours, got my 50, super stoked. Will one day don a bib again, but I just got rid of my wetsuit, so it may be a while.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait to come back to Florida.
But I've been but I've been fortunate enough to have a front row seat as a media guy. Hang on, we'll show that in a second. Don't step on my flow here, man. Oh, you're just taking a sip. I've been fortunate enough to be at every event, so I've watched people up close go through it all. Elite members, elite people finishing on the podium for the first time, regular folks. I've shed many tears. It's my favorite event. I've been saying that for years now, and that's why I'm here. So the other thing I want to say about the video, the reason we're not going to do a 7 video series, but we will next year, because A, it will have been 2 years, and secondly, it will be the first time in England, be the first time different part of the year, so we'll have a whole reason to do a whole new recon. But this year, you've made a ton of notes, which I appreciate. And we want to start with the newest.
I over-prepare for everything.
And I'm the opposite, which is why we do so well together, because I'm an under-prepare, make it up as I go along. I just got back from Duncan. So let's start with the specifics for this year, which is venue. What do we want to say about Bartow? What's it called? Clear Springs Ranch.
Clear Springs Ranch. Yeah.
What do you want to say about the venue, first and foremost?
Well, so first and foremost, I lived in, so Bartow.
First of all, every time you hold your hand up, the light moves. Do you see?
Sorry.
Do you see?
Yeah, it's the auto correct on the thing. So I'll try to keep my hands down.
Yeah, tell it to stop auto correcting.
Yeah, I can't do it once we're started here. So actually, I don't know if I know how to do it in this format. Anyway, Bartow is right outside of Tampa, and I lived in Tampa for 3 years. It's been a while, but
when you were bodybuilding,
actually, I guess you could call it that. I wasn't competing at that point. It was that I waited till I got back to Missouri to start competing again. But
I feel like you would be rolling with, like, do you know a guy named Terry Bollea?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, doesn't he?
I actually met him when I was in Tampa.
See, that's what I'm thinking.
Crossing the street, and I just saw him. I was driving by on my bike, and I had to stop and say hi.
This is me doing one-handed snatches next to Terry Bollea.
If I did that right now, it would mess up the lighting, so I can't do it.
Okay, don't do it.
No, but
single arm snatches. That's the correct term. Sorry, single arm snatches.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm familiar with the area, and so I've never been to the actual site, though I did watch a couple videos on it. We were just talking about when we were off air here. But basically, it's quintessential Central Florida. Most people think of Florida, they think of the beaches, they think of tourism, they think all this. A lot of Florida is farmland. I mean, it's cow pasture, and that's what this is. But it's not the same type of cow pasture as we had to deal with last year in Texas. It's sandy dirt, basically. It's like what I would call probably a 70-30 mix of sand and dirt. So if you took a bunch of dirt and threw it in the sand, that's what you'd get. So it's a lot softer than we had in Laughlin or in Vegas. So, you're looking at running, kind of like running in the beach. But this does look like there is some mud out there and things like that because it's a Jeep track. But the main key about the venue, I think there's a few things we want to cover, but the weather is a big thing because it's going to be like 80 degrees during the day, which is way hotter than we've ever had. And it's also going to be down to around 60 at night. And that's not cold, but it feels cold when you're talking about a contrast of 80 down to 60. So, it's Florida. It's going to be humid. Hopefully we're going to be wet a lot. But
it's never been 80 when we started, not even in Atmore, not even in Laughlin.
Atmore was cold. Remember that? It was like 55, 60 degrees. It was kind of raining when we started.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was like, I remember commenting like, this is the first rainy start we've had.
Yeah. But no, I don't think it's been in Vegas and stuff. It would get to like 74 degrees, 75 degrees. It might've got close, but that's the dry heat. So 81 is probably the hottest. It definitely wasn't. I mean, it was warm last year. A lot of people had trouble. I remember Chris Mendoza went down at like Mutterhorn. He was down and out in that first lap because it was so hot. But, people just aren't used to it when they come from most of the United States as being cooler. And then they got to go to Florida and all of a sudden, wow, here it is. It's hot. So, as far as a trail, if they treat it like a Spartan track, like if Spartan was doing this race, I think it could do a really good job because there's a lot of chance for taking us through like knee deep water, high grass.
Should we pull up that video now, or do you want to wait?
You can pull up the video now if you want, right. But and I could kind of voice over a little bit of what I've seen of it. I mean, I did do an elevation track, and at max, it goes like 40 to 50 feet of change of elevation from one area to another. So there is some up and down just from the Jeep trails and things like that. It's not going to be real tough. Not going to be like Vegas was as far as that stuff is. But I think they're going to find a way to slow us down. People are really worried about the gators. Let me tell you, playing golf and being around the alligators, they generally do not want to be around people. So the more traffic we have, the less you're going to have to worry about them. And I'm sure this place is going to run them out of the any water pits that we're going to be walking through. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. It's pit bull. If you see a random pit bull, you kind of stay leery of it. You don't like go up and pet it. Do the same thing with an alligator. Don't try to go aggravate them because that's kind of a dumb thing to do. But I've seen people do it on golf courses. But, you leave them alone and they don't bother you. So here on the video, you can see, there is a hill there. So they've got some up and down. And if they take you through that thick grass, that's going to slow us down. You never know what's in there. It could be snakes or all kinds of stuff. But they've already got that muddy track. Except on the map, it doesn't look like they're taking us through this muddy track. It looks like they're going to keep us mainly around that big pond they have there. So
okay, should I fast forward then through part of it?
Yeah, you might want to get to where you can kind of see the pond because there is a section where he's talking right by the pond. Yeah, like that'll give you a good aerial view of what it looks like around there. Okay. So, I think it's a good site, but it just depends on how it comes down to that, right? How well they use the site. Last year I thought they did a good job of using the site there at Granbury.
But that's not even runnable, that swamp. There's no way they're making us like do 5 mile swamp run where it's not, you couldn't even get your knees
but
up.
I think people, will generally say, oh, it's flat. It's going to be fast course. I don't think
this we could run on this little fun little thing they got going on. It looks like a bunch of ants. Nope. See there. Now it's marshy again. It looks marshy.
Yeah. Florida's weird because it's generally this time of year, it's pretty dry. This video actually was shot last year in November though. So it can get pretty wet there if it rains, but I think we're going to be somewhere in between these two, being a little bit marshy and that type of stuff. As a site in general, I think they could do a really good job. It just comes down to how evil they want to be. Do they want to run us through the terrible stuff or they want to keep it easy? I'll give you an example. Missouri, the site that they used these past 2 years is flat, unexciting type of thing. This year, they got a ton of rain right before the race. So literally what was a field became a swamp. And we were walking through waist deep water half of the race. It slowed everybody down. It made the Infinity.
All right, hang on. Looks like we got something runnable here. The Pines Trail, it says. This is probably what they got us on some, right?
Well, I don't know. I looked at the map. It basically, see where those trees are? It basically had us around that pond and run around those trees. We probably are on a little bit of that, but for the most part, I think if they keep us in the marshy sections for some of it to slow us down, it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a fast course. We thought, Granbury would be a fast course last year, and I guess it was kind of, but because they used all the penalties to slow everybody down, it didn't end up with fantastic mileage. Nobody got 125 miles.
All right, so there's the lake there.
Yeah, it's right around there. Like this is the area I think that they're going to be taking us.
Okay. According to, if you think that map is to scale.
Yeah, I think there is a trail around that pond, and that's the trail that they're on right there, probably. Now, obviously, they're not going to put an obstacle on that kind of terrain, but we'll be running through there in the night, probably stuff like that.
Let's do a little Google Map action while we're messing about. What's it called? Clear Springs Ranch?
Clear Spring. I always want to say Crystal Spring because that is another place in Florida right around the area. So Clear Springs Ranch. And there are cows on the site, just like we had last year. Might be running past a cow in the middle of the night. And up there in Atlanta, we ran past pigs.
Okay, well, here's some photos. Look at this. Hang on. Here's some photos right on the Google.
I can't believe we haven't any footage of Tough Mudder being there. I thought they were there for sure.
If you're listening to this and you've got some GoPro, it's just 4 photos. One, that's a great picture. We got some Celsius. A dog.
Wow, I can't.
All right, so this looks nothing like what we just did.
That's the flat area. I think that's up by the pit area where we're going to be pitting. So there is a flat area. and then we go down into that circular area. Like you can kind of see the trees there and stuff.
All right. So yeah, so
Hopefully-
this is all like regular grass. It looks like.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that is not where we're going to be.
Okay.
Because that's going to be the world's boringest mutter if that's what it is.
But
I don't
don't
think
you-
that's the case.
You don't think that's the case?
I don't think so.
I mean, it says Tough Mudder, Central Florida. It's the same location.
Yeah, but you can choose to go the easy route, or you can choose to go the hard route. And let's, for argument's sake, this is world's toughest mutter. That is the hardest thing. I can't see the rest of that map though. If you back it up, we can kind of see where that.
Well, I can tell you what I can tell you is I did talk to Everett, who is the race director, along with there's a woman. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name, from England that's coming over. She's going to be. This is as far back as I can go there. So that's the map.
Yeah, it looks like we're in that open spot, I think, up a little ways, but
you think we're up here? You think we're up here, you're saying?
Yeah, up a little. Yes. Up there a little bit more. But
hang on. We got to do the most important thing is getting coffee on the way to site. Let's go. And if I want to leave, hang on. Or you want to hang on. God damn it. Oh, hopefully I'll leave that out. We don't curse on this show. If you want to leave to go get your racers some coffee, those of you who are pit crewing, where did it just go?
I don't know. They're not going to have coffee on site. Yeah, you're a little bit north there. What is that, Lakeland? I can't tell where you're looking at.
What the heck just happened? Go back. Oh, man. Don't you hate when I don't know what I'm doing? Okay, there's Tough Mudder, Central Florida. Okay, here we go. So, Clear Springs Ranch. There we go. There's Tough Mudder, Central Florida. And then now if I type in nearby, I want nearby. Let's clear this out.
That's the town of Bartow that you can see there.
Right. Coffee shop. There we go. Okay. So everything's over here in town, it looks like.
Yep. That sounds about right.
That is
what?
Closes at 6 p.m. That's bad news. Closes at 9 p.m. That's bad news. We need later coffee.
Yeah, that probably ain't happening.
So that is approximately 8.5 miles away. So it looks like nothing's close. Everything's in town. So you better bring everything.
Yep.
Did you get a hotel nearby, buddy?
I am in Brandon. So because I lived in Tampa, I know everything around that area. Like 45 minutes away in Brandon, East Tampa.
Why are you so far?
Area.
Why are you so far?
Because of all the stuff. Well, I know people over in Tampa, but I know all the stuff. So I'm going to hit up all my old spots, man. Got to hit up all the old stopping grounds.
Are you going to visit Terry?
I do know the area he's in, but I'm not going to be visiting him. No.
What about Bubba?
No, Bub. I'm gonna go see my my old mentor, personal training mentor. I'm gonna see him on Friday, and it's kind of ground central for me. I know that area pretty well, so that's kind of why I'm going over there. But
all right, people who've never watched me before, and like this is their first video ever, and they thought this was going to be just a bunch of really good info. I apologize. You're also going to get sidetracked with Hulk Hogan conversations. Yeah. Hey, so let's get back to the point though, which is you talked about what you hope to see. I forgot. I already spoke to Everett. That's what I'm saying. I was talking about Everett. I said, is there swims? Is there water submersions? And he said, no. He said there's water, but no. Other than, he said obstacles. He said, hypothetically, obstacles. So let's say Funky Monkey, right? You fall in, you're in the drink, but we're not doing, it doesn't sound like we're doing like a Statue of Liberty type situation.
Can you see the wind falling out of my sail?
This is the hype video, Jason. This is the hype video.
If you go to Florida and you have us going around a pond, shouldn't we be at least wading through the pond on our way around?
We might be wading. I just said, will we be submerged? And he said, other than obstacles, no, there's no swims per se. This is supposed to be the hype video, Jason. Don't make me drag it out of me.
Back in Vegas was the best thing ever. Not only jumping off the cliff, but the fact you had to swim 100 yards. And if you couldn't swim, you had to take a life preserver with you.
How about the year he said, if you don't do penalties, you can stay mostly dry. Remember that year?
Yeah. That was, well, they did that a couple of years, but that was 2013 in New Jersey, they said that. And let me tell you, there was only like two people that weren't failing obstacles, and one of them was Ryan Atkins. So,
right. Well, but I think this is a good point, though. This is a good point that I was going to say at the end, but I'll say now. And that is that there's already a lot of talk. Spartan's going to ruin things. Tough Mudder used to be better. I posted my joke today. Here's the really good news, guys. What happens is a direct product of the hundreds and hundreds of racers, volunteers, staff, pit crew. That's what makes this event. So obstacles are too hard. Obstacles are too easy. You've been guilty of bitching about those things, Jason. But at the end of the day, World's Toughest is a universe to itself that will be what you make of it. Meaning you look for the best and look to have a challenging time, a fun time. That's what's going to happen because we've survived moves to the West Coast, moves to Florida, moves to Georgia, which was supposed to be hot but was freezing. Like all the stuff that we think it's going to make it suck, and it ends up being great. So I don't want to say that no matter what happens, you can have a great event if you choose to.
We just show up and we do the course that they put in front of us, and it's
correct.
It's Mudders versus the course. And then when you get frustrated because something doesn't go well or whatever, to be honest, the main key that I think is one of the biggest parts of World's Toughest, and we've had this conversation a bunch of times before. I think that part of the experience of World's Toughest Mudder is how Everett is going to think on his feet and be able to adjust this course on how things are going. If people are destroying the course, and Trevor, who I think is coming, he said on the Strength and Speed podcast that he was planning on being there. Assuming he's there, and some of the other female racers like Jenny Overstreet and whoever else is going to be there, if they are destroying the course, if they've got great mileage and everybody's doing well, we probably need to make it a little harder. So let's make this penalty a little longer, and let's reroute them into over here to make this change. However, some of the obstacles were failing too often. Let's make a change here. It's those things that make World's Toughest Mudder different than most races, because things are going well, they can make a pivot here and pivot there, and it's a different course as we go. Heck, sometimes they have a different race at night than they have during the day. Those are all things that make the course what it is. If they just go out with a generic plan and don't do anything all night long, it may be vanilla, it may be great. Who knows? But we just, I go out there not looking for the course to be fantastic or looking for some fantastic obstacles. They just make for better story. And if you're looking for fantastic PR or great Instagram posts and different things like that, then you need those big obstacles or crazy parts of the event, like icicles hanging off of obstacles and things like that. They make for great videos. They probably don't make for great submissions to the insurance companies afterwards because people get hurt. But that's it depends on what you're looking for out of the event. I would think that Joe would want something big and badass, but I guess they're good. The general idea is play it safe. Who knows? We might get there and, they may have gators out on course, and that's the biggest, scariest thing we got out there. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. It doesn't really matter to me if they've got, some massive slide like they did in Atmore, or, if the craziest thing out on course is whether or not somebody gets impaled by, a grappling hook. I don't know.
Well, you said so. Let's go back to the situation about the heat, because typically we're worried about the cold. Bring a wetsuit. I don't care what we say on this podcast, but anybody tells you bring a fucking wetsuit.
You got to bring a wetsuit.
If you luck out and you don't need it, fantastic. But don't think you're not going to need it. However, having said that, it will be hot for the first part of the race, and it will be hot on day 2, right?
Yeah.
So
how do we starting later? So the second day is going to be going further into the heat, up to 2:30.
So something I completely forgot because it was said last year, and I 100% forgot it until Everett said it. There will be mudders on course doing the 5K from 8 a.m. until 10:30 or however long it takes them, right? The last person. Yeah. Then we get the course to ourselves starting at 1.
Is that
not 12?
This is day 1, right?
Day 1, yes.
Yeah.
Starting at 1 p.m. So you can race from 1 p.m. Saturday to 2:30 p.m. Sunday, as long as you start your final lap by 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Correct.
So don't stop drinking liquids. That's what I'm going to tell you. You cannot drink enough. Keep yourself hydrated. Go ahead.
That is definitely the case. And make sure you got plenty of the pickle juice or mustard or whatever you need to help keep you from cramping. It is going to be different. I remember that that 1 year when they changed it, I think it was 2:00, but I can't remember. It was 2015 in Vegas. They changed it to a later start time. And to be honest, that kind of destroyed everyone. There was
We got two laps. We got 2 laps before we had to put wetsuits on. I hated that.
Yeah, it was. And a lot of people got stuck on course during the second lap, reverse Shawshank or whatever they called it then. And that's where Hayden Chavez killed himself trying to get everybody into that tube and all these things. But because we started late, we had a lot of people that bowed out early because they just weren't ready for that wetsuit start. And then the fact that it started later meant that everybody was, having trouble. Most people can't sleep the night before. So they're starting later. So now they're ending that much later, and it messed with their sleep cycles. And it was I think it was a mess, and Tough Mudder realized it was a mess. So that's why they moved it back. Now, I assume this change has to do with that, being on a dirty course and everybody, them having to be out there that morning. I hope they got staff situation squared away, because they're going to have a long day.
It's been noon the last couple of days, but wasn't it 10 a.m. at one point? Because that seems like the right way to do it.
When it first started, I remember being really cold. So it could have been in Jersey. That could have been that it was that early.
I like the idea of 10 a.m., which means you're not getting up at 5, right? You can get up at 6, get to the play, maybe 7, even get to the venue. And then you end the next day at 12, and then you sleep and whatever. But one is definitely, that's late, right? It's lunchtime. You've had 2 meals now, and now you got to go run, and you probably won't eat lunch because you're too nervous. Your stomach's going crazy. So yeah, all your stuff is thrown off. But the good news is you're going for 100 miles. So that first lap will be your stretch. You don't have to stretch because your first lap will be stretch.
Well, yeah, that's always the key. Except you give some of the people, they just come out and they blast. I think last year Overstreet won the women's green bib. And generally people don't do well when they win the green bib. She did pretty well last year, but the idea is that your first lap is going to be the warm-up lap anyway. So it doesn't really matter. That part doesn't matter. I think it matters more at the end of the race because now the fact that it's hotter and all these things are going to happen on day 2. But yeah, this year is going to be heat.
If I tell you the women that I think that are going to do well, can you tell me if I'm missing anybody?
I can't tell. I don't know who's doing the race this year. It's kind of crazy. I just say Overstreet because I know her well and I know she's doing the race for sure. But
okay, so can I tell you who I know is going? So I just put out a men's article.
Okay,
and then women now. So here's the thing, which again I forgot. Once upon a time, you had to get elite contender status in order to be eligible for prizes. They realized. What if somebody's just like a trail runner and wants to show up and like kick ass, and they're not in the community and they don't know about getting the
Anthony Kunkel type of thing going on?
They don't know about this. Yeah, they just want to show up, be eligible for prizes. So it's now open to whatever. Being eligible just means earlier pit spot and some other stuff, a special patch.
Yeah.
So I went through I got an elite list, and then I started poking through for additional names. But here's what I got so far. Deanna, who technically is a contender, but I know also sometimes she'll just like help a team. She'll be in, she'll be an Everest Angel. She'll do whatever she feels like.
Yeah, she was in Toughest. She was at the wall for half.
Yeah, exactly. Julianne Estes, Beth Faria, or is it Faria? Kelly Glynn, Sue Harvey Brown, Jillian Heller, Shannon Hunkin, Melissa Linden, Felicia Lopez, Tiffany Wynn, Sheridan Santiga, Jenny Stipp, Sarah Tucker, and Lisa Warzanowski. That's all I've got. There could be a ton more women if you're seeing this. Even if I've put out my article already, by the time you see this, message me and let me know if you think someone is a top 10 possibility. And Jenny, you said is on that list. Overstreet.
Yeah. I know she's going to be there. I know she's on that list.
We got no Chris, and we got no the woman who was, speaking of trail runners, the woman that came out of nowhere last year that I interviewed. Oh man, what's her name? I feel so bad now. She finished on the podium. Fuck.
Now I'm mind blanking on everybody's name.
Hang on, let me get my message.
Carter's not coming either.
What's that?
Hannah's not coming either. Hannah Carter.
I don't have Hannah. She could be. Hang on. Who the heck is it?
I don't know. That's a lot of money on the line to have nobody show up. Come on,
dude, come win the money. Wait till you see the teams list. The teams list, there's only like 20 teams, and there's like money available for 6 of those teams.
That's crazy.
I know, right? Oh, wait, 3 of those teams, right? Because it's not 2 and 4 person anymore.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah. It's all, you get to.
Still, considering more than half of those teams are probably just people fucking around from the office.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be a team. I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah. I was in the team the wrong year.
Clearly. I can't find my fucking messages. Stephanie Bland, sorry. Stephanie Schreiber Bland, trail runner, ultra runner, came in, finished on the podium. I was looking for her all night. You see the leaderboard. I'm like, who is this woman? And I finally found her like at, almost the end of the race. But again, I know we're jumping all over the place here, but just to kind of talk about what you're saying is, you said make the course alive. Like if a penalty is too long, adjust it. If an obstacle is too hard, adjust it. And I agree because 30% failure rate is pretty good, or 30% success rate, 1% success rate. The only guy who's doing it is Austin. Not good. So yeah, we want to change it. By the way, I don't know if Austin's coming. I just messaged Austin. Is Austin coming? Let me know.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard. I would think he would be there. If Trevor's coming, you would think I want to see that battle again. Don't you want to see that rematch? I mean, those guys raced together at Everest, and they went head to head in 2016, I believe that was, and that's where Austin died in the heat, and Trevor ends up outlasting him at 95 or 100 miles. I think Trevor got 100 and Austin got 95. Anyway, it was an awesome battle. And Trevor just had a bad race last year, but I'd like to see them go at it again.
Yeah, when I looked at the top 10, so I included him in the article, and it said 65 miles. I don't remember him stopping, but I guess he must have.
Yeah, he was. I don't remember exactly why, but something was going on with his belly or something. He wasn't doing well like halfway through the race, so I think that's why he stopped. Because Trevor, he's a battle hound. He's not going to stop. So
yeah, he's a gamer.
Yeah, he's definitely out there. And you mentioned the obstacle percentage failures. Just from the people I talked to, there was less than 10 people that were consistently doing all of the obstacles and every single lap. And some of the people that did it were just walking. Miranda Huber, I don't know if she failed an obstacle. She's really good at obstacles. I don't know if she failed an obstacle, but she was walking. That was her. She's an ultra racer, but she was just going out to complete all the obstacles. But if you're running and you're failing obstacles and there's 8 to 10 people out of 800 failing or making through the obstacles, you need to adjust it. I mean, this is not, I'm the one that does, I do better when the obstacles are harder. So I'm not helping myself by making this claim, but I want people to show up. And when it's like Katie Knight said last year, the world's toughest penalty loop, not world's toughest mutter, a lot of the racers are getting
Katie's not coming back either, damn it.
Yeah, it's freaking crazy.
Damn it, Katie, we need you. All right, well, let's get to the obstacles. So far, the names are you want to go through them?
From what I can read, I mean, the copy that I got on my Chromebooks is not great. So, Beach Bum, it looks like it says Beach Bum. Okay. Touring the Everglades, some type of walls, Florida Happy Meal. I think that's what that says. Miami Hangover, Swashbuckler, moving the something, Tourist Trap, Hades Hellfish. And they added some more today, but I didn't see exactly what those were. But I think they're just giving us random names. So I don't really have any idea what the obstacles are, but they're probably, judging by what you just said, they're probably going to be traditional Tough Mudder obstacles with maybe a twist on them a little bit. But, hopefully they choose the best ones. I mean, heck, when we were in Toughest, they literally routed us just before we got to Hanging Tough. And I was like, I want to do that one.
Yeah, if you're failing the obstacles, Jason, you're supposed to be teaching people how to do this. Aren't you some kind of a coach? Maybe you're not very good.
I had a bad year, I guess. I don't know. I just know that when you try to go uphill on Funky Monkey and everybody's getting the rope all muddy and you're just sliding back down. I got through that twice and figured I'm wasting my energy because I don't know why I'm doing this. And then at the end, I end up not making the mileage that I was hoping to get. And I was like, probably should have been trying that as many times as I could before I filled it. But we don't know what the obstacles are, and judging by the names, I don't think we're going to know until we show up on course.
Okay,
So let's hope.
We've got beached bum, touring the Everglades, Wynwood Walls. Wynwood is like a town. It's like Disney, right?
Yeah. I think that's what they're pulling.
Miami Hangover, Swashbuckler something, Moving the Grandma, Tourist Trap. Get it? Florida Moving the Grandma?
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to type these into ChatGPT and see what it tells me those might be. What do you think?
Oh my God. They're going to be like, are you drunk? The idea that the obstacles are going to be much different, okay, we're running on a beach. They got touring the Everglades. That's probably just a little swampy run. I'm sure any type of walls is just one of the walls. You know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping that they pull some of their Spartan obstacles. Like I watched a video of the at Beaver Castle that Will Chung put some Spartan obstacles in the Tough Mudder. So maybe they can grab some of those Spartan obstacles and throw them in for us.
I would almost bet we're going to have that, right? That tilting ladders, right?
Yeah.
That's a Spartan obstacle that they turned into something. Do you want to hear what ChatGPT has to say?
Yeah. Well, let's see.
These are amazing. ChatGPT is amazing. Beach bum likely involves sand or beach themed challenges. Maybe a heavy carry across sand or sandy crawl that moving along the beach.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. That was a good guess.
Right? Touring Everglades could be water-based, including a swampy, murky area, possibly a swim or even log carry through muddy or vegetation-filled water. This Florida Happy Meal. This might involve grabbing or moving small objects from one area to another, similar to carrying items you'd find at a Happy Meal.
What?
Miami Hangover. Possibly a combination of grip-based obstacles with something disorienting, like swinging between bars or ropes, with some wobbling elements like Miami nightlife. This is amazing.
I don't know.
Moving the question mark.
What did you do? Literally copy and paste it in there?
Yeah. This could be a heavy carry with an unexpected shape, like pushing or moving something uniquely Floridian. A gator, perhaps?
That would be awesome.
Tourist trap. Could be a slippery obstacle with false grips or handholds. Dude, ChatGPT should be the obstacle designer.
Exactly. It sounds like they're doing a pretty good job.
I mean, this is really good stuff. All right, the last
one.
What
were the parameters you put in there? Did you tell it Tough Mudder obstacles or just obstacle course?
I said, what obstacles do you think these are for World's Toughest Mudder? They gave us these clues, and then I just copied and pasted.
Okay.
Hades Hellish ? Likely an intense obstacle, possibly fire or heat themed, involving climbing or crawling through hot or rugged terrain. Maybe a claustrophobic tunnel or low crawl space with lighting effects to simulate the underworld.
Yeah. Well, that would be awesome. It's like Coach's Corner. Is Coach going to be there? I didn't see anything about Coach's Corner. Hopefully he's going to be there.
Dude, I think ChatGPT could make the greatest. I mean, people like to give it shit. They think like, oh, it's the robots. They're going to take us. But I'm all for that course. That sounds amazing.
That does sound pretty amazing. They did remember the fire in the hole obstacle? That was like the best. That was so much fun. And they took
only the legends remember fire in the hole, AKA. Remember the other name for it?
I don't remember. No.
Vesuvius.
Oh, I don't think I ever knew. That's a good name, but I didn't even know they called it that.
Because you're coming out of a fucking volcano.
Yeah, I know. We need some molten lava falling down on top of us there. So anyway, let's get back to the real deal on the course. Let's hope that they put together a Spartan-esque course that is pretty badass in nature as far as utilizing all the stuff, and they use the best versions of the Tough Mudder obstacles, and all those things are good. Does that mean that we have a better race or a less fun race because it's a Spartan-esque course? The hardcore Tough Mudder people will lose their minds if this looks like a Spartan course. I actually think it might be a great course if it's a Spartan type course. When I say Spartan type course, meaning they take us through the nastiest mud and they take us through very rough terrain, and it's slowing us down and it's kind of boring because all we're doing is walking through the woods. And then you got to carry a sandbag here and all this kind of stuff. Hey, it's something different. And the only thing that matters is we're going for 24 hours. We're going to have some Tough Mudder elements where we get to help each other and we get to, prop each other up when we're out there on course. And in the end of the day, we're going to have a bunch of mutters at the end supporting each other and being out there on course for 24 hours. And that's really what Tough Mudder is about. So does it matter? Does all the rest matter? No, it's kind of minutia. I just want to see people out there having fun for killing it for 24 hours. And, if they do that, then it's going to be a great race.
I want to say this for the new people, and I said it on the thing with Everett, which will also be on here, but I'm going to say it anyway. Do not trick yourself into thinking you were going to have really high mileage.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to understand how this race works. Okay. So the first lap you run will be no obstacles. That will be an extremely fast lap for you. The next several laps will have some of the obstacles. Okay. Those will be faster laps because it's also when you're less tired. As the race goes on, more and more obstacles get turned on. Your body gets more and more fatigued. Things start to chafe, things start to hurt, and you will slow down. And that's okay. That's what the race is designed to do. But do not say to yourself or to your crew or to me, I'm on pace for 100 miles because I got 50 at 10 p.m. or midnight or 8 p.m., whatever it is. You're not on pace for shit because it's not the same race. It continues to change and evolve. And again, that's one thing we love about it. And that's when the rubber meets the road. You didn't sign up for a walk in the park. You signed up because you wanted to push yourself. Hear my words now. Let them ring through your brain in the middle of the night. When it's 1 a.m, 2 a.m, this isn't fun anymore. Oh, my leg kind of hurts. Oh, I should probably quit. Like all that bullshit. None of that's true. Keep going. That's what you signed up for.
That's right. We can use the mileage charts that people say, 10 p.m. you got to be halfway, you got to be. I use mileage charts. I have an idea of what I want in mileage, but I don't push on the race just to get that mileage. I'm not going to crush myself when I think it's too hard. I might have done that back in the day, but I know how hard it's pushing, and I've got mileage charts, and I'll look at it and be like, am I where I wanted to be at 25 miles? Halfway point, am I where I want to be? I will tell you, last year, I wanted to be halfway, 37 and a half miles at 10 p.m. I looked down at my watch when it hit 38 miles, and it was 10:02. Absolutely perfect pacing. And then the ape hanger, I can't remember what they call that obstacle, the thing with the cargo net overhead. Then that one opened. Then they started getting funky monkey muddy. And I started feeling a few obstacles here and there. And all of a sudden, that mileage plan went out the window. But that didn't stop my race. I kept racing and I kept doing
I'm not saying don't have goals.
No. But you have to be ready for everything to go sideways and that not to totally blow your race. And that's what I was saying is that I didn't stop racing. And in fact, when I realized that I was close to the podium when the sun came up, I turned it on. And I will plan on doing that again this year. You general marks. But just go out there and run your race. Don't worry about the mileage as much as that's for Instagram posts. Go out there and do the best you possibly can and don't worry about that stuff.
Because even if you've done a bunch of 100-milers, you know that something's going to go wrong, right?
Yeah.
But that's very few people. If you're new and you've never done this before, whatever you do over the course of these 25 and a half hours is going to be farther than you've ever gone.
Keep moving forward.
Just keep moving because trust me, you're going to come off a wall and land and go, and like all of a sudden your brain starts to freak out. Like, well, my pace is off. I'm not going to be able to make it. What do I do? Like, just go to your pit, talk to your crew, if you've got crew, let them pump you up. If you're going to the orphan tent, let Mama Pit orphan tent and everybody else pump you up and keep moving. The only goal is to keep moving. The only direction is forward.
Yep. The best way I can explain to a new person, if you've never done this before, even if you've done it toughest, is that you're not doing 50 miles. You're doing 5 miles 10 times. So all you have to do is get through the next 2 miles. Get to the next obstacle.
Except that if you do a penalty and the lap cost you 7, you only get credit for 5.
Yes, but in general, you're just going to keep moving. You're going to finish this lap, and then you're going to get back to the pit, and you're going to have some fantastic food, and see your spouse, your significant other, whoever's pitting for you, see your kids, and then you're going to get pumped back up, and then you're going to go back out again. And the good thing is, this year, you're not going to freeze your ass off. You might
Well, maybe.
feel cold. You might feel cold, but it's all relative. If you think you're cold at 60, you should have been there when it was 30. That was really fun.
Exactly.
At least we know our fingers aren't going to go numb. But
let's hope.
What?
Let's hope our fingers don't go numb.
Well, at 60 degrees, they shouldn't be going numb. If they're going numb, it's from friction. But it's going to be relatively uncold. That doesn't mean that you don't need a wetsuit top or you don't need a jacket. You always need a jacket. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have to keep moving. But I think there's a different approach this year with the fact that we know those things are probably off the table, that the 50 degrees and below is probably off the table. Who knows? Hell, a hurricane could hit us. But the idea that you're going to keep moving and not give in to the cold or a temperature type of thing. If you get hot, just try to keep yourself cool. Drop yourself into the pond a little bit, whatever it takes. If we're running around a pond, overheating should not be a thing. You should just drop into the pond, get out of the pond, and keep moving. Just get yourself wet constantly, and hopefully you'll stay cool. I just think that most people, they come in with too many preset standards and put themselves in a box and say, I want to run 75 miles. I want that belt buckle. Well, that's a good goal, but it doesn't mean you can't pivot off that goal if things aren't going your way. And that's what you should do. And if things don't go well, don't quit. Just, learn and keep moving forward, because next June we're going to be out in the UK, and we'll be back again in a very short time period. You can redeem yourself, right? So,
the other thing I want to say is the other reason people fall apart is they don't eat enough calories. So it's always eat before you're hungry, right? Even if you're not hungry, you got to take food in. You can do some crazy math and talk about the amount of calories you need per hour for your body weight, or you could just kind of go by feel, but just eat every lap, eat something, even if you don't feel like it.
Yeah, or drink it. Just make sure you got some type of calories going in. And you said before, stay hydrated, hydrate. I always reiterate this. I'm going to reiterate it again. You don't cramp from lack of electrolytes. Most people get plenty of electrolytes as long as they're eating and drinking. You will cramp from muscle fatigue, from lack of carbohydrate, lack of glycogen, basically. So make sure that you're constantly reintroducing those things. If you do start cramping, take some pickle juice, take some mustard. But as long as you're constantly eating and constantly, you're probably going to be okay. The second you start taking in all these, ramen noodles with the packet in there, you probably got plenty of sodium all night. My fans used to swell up like crazy when I would eat that type of stuff. But the main key is that you're constantly eating as much as you possibly can when you're coming into the pit and back out of the pit, and having a plan just to start with that. I do want to address a couple things, before we wrap up here, about preparation between now and the race.
Before we do that, because I know we went over we had a whole list and we're skipping all around, and I'm fine with that because I think we've got some good stuff here, but I do need to put you on hold 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Got to put on a shirt.
Guys, make sure you've got a gear plan that will allow you to add a jacket or add a small, single wetsuit shirt or something. You're not jumping into a full wetsuit or a shorty at 6:30 p.m. because you're going to be overheating then, and you don't really want to do that. So have a plan where you can progressively stay warm throughout the night and not, jump into jumping overboard. And then you probably won't need to regress out of that in the morning until it starts to get really hot. I don't know, 10 a.m. or something like that. And then plan on stepping things back down and have a step out without having to jump back to regular clothing and stuff like that. So it's have a progressive nature, adding in more and more clothing, and then regressing out of that clothing, taking off slowly as we get into the next day. So having that plan in place ahead of time so that your pit crew knows what you're planning on doing and be able to implement that, that's going to be a good thing, a good plan to come into the race with. It's making sure that you communicate well with the pit crew and all that kind of stuff. Same thing with your food, having a plan to switch from maybe more endurance type foods like gels and gummies and different things when you first start the race. Gummies meaning like fruit gummies, not meaning like marijuana gummies. And then switching to more real food, maybe overnight and that type of stuff, because generally your stomach gets tired of all that. But hopefully you put a race plan together and you've tried to use all that stuff during your practice runs and all that leading up to the race so that you can easily move into that. So
how's it going? I've been wearing a hoodie all
It's
day,
fine.
but with nothing. I put a hoodie on this morning with nothing under it. Now I'm wearing my Tough
at least you
Mudder
got
Alula
Tough
shirt.
Mudder on now.
Yeah,
So-
this is from Alula too. This is nice.
Oh, well, yeah. I haven't seen that brand before.
Yeah, Alonic, which
Yeah.
actually used to be a Tough Mudder or Spartan vendor. Anyway, go ahead.
So I was just talking about having race plan and talking it with and talking.
Have you seen these guns though, bro? Have you checked this out lately? See the
Hey,
work I've been
man,
doing?
looks like you're staying in shape in your old age.
I know, right? Hey, Smush. Last time I saw you, I was a 98-pound weakling.
Yeah.
Oh, remember
Yeah,
I
you got-
cramped up so bad when we were running? Remember I
Yeah,
fucking like on the side of that park, you like had to like do some work on me.
Yeah. I had to do a pump up talk to you. I was like Sean Corvell trying to get you to rock and roll.
We were trying to do a little 3-mile run around the park, and like my leg just like fucking, it was so weird.
Cramped up on you. So what I was going to say about prep, we've got 10 days, 12 days sauna. If you've got access to a sauna, get in there. Basically the best way to say, okay, well, how long do I need to be in the sauna until it feels like you're getting panic, like you're panicking? That's when you're kind of getting that stress on you. That's when you need to be in there too. Probably stay a few more minutes after you start to panic. But sauna time, fantastic thing to implement right now. And then if you can't do that, at least go out on runs wearing too many clothes. You don't have to wear one of the plastic suits, but wearing a little bit too many clothes, that'll help you prepare for it as well. Got to get used to that cold.
River wants to say hi.
Hey,
Hello.
has he got words of encouragement for us?
River, what would you want to say to people who wanted to do World's Toughest Mudder? What was encouragement you give them?
Don't
Run,
stop.
work hard, and if you get tired,
Don't stop.
I guess
Don't stop. Tell them not to stop no matter what.
don't stop no matter what.
Good
And
call.
don't be a fatty boombalatti.
Don't be a fatty boomalatti.
That's what cracks him up. Fatty boombalatti thought was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. I said it the other day. We don't judge though. We don't judge against size or race or orientation. We don't care. Big or small,
Yeah.
we love you.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome in the disgusting swampy water that we're going to experience together.
Yep. So
Stacy, hang on. Let's get some motivation from one Stacy Davis. Stacy,
you got the whole family in on this.
Stacy,
Yeah.
Stacy, what do you want to say? This is Jason, by the way.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am good.
All right, what motivation you want to tell the people? They're going to race for 24 hours. What's the most important thing they need to know?
Eat.
Yes.
Yeah, see,
Good one.
He said it. Yeah.
What else?
Keep your mental state in a good place. Strong.
How do we do that? How do we keep our mental state in a good place? How do we stay positive when we're hurting out there?
Well, support from other people for one. Hope
She's never even been there. She knows.
Oh well, see, there you go. She's right.
ability
She's
to
done races,
suffer is
just
the
not
one
that
who
kind
wins
of
the
race.
most, I guess.
Say that again. Say that again, honey.
The one who's best at suffering wins. So it's partly personality, I guess.
There you go. Wise sage advice from the Davis family. That's just extra bonus out here, guys. You thought you were getting me and Jason. You just got my 11-year-old son. You got my wife. Where were we? Get in the sauna.
Get in the sauna.
Get
and,
nude.
If you
Get
can't
nude
get
in
in
the
the sauna,
sauna.
then wear too many clothes and run hot. You just got to kind of get your body used to it. Because the biggest problem people have is that shock factor when they get out there and they start overheating, and then they hit the night, and all of a sudden the temperature drops real fast, and then the body's not used to getting that cold, and then they come back out in the morning and it starts getting warm again. They're like, oh my God. I don't think we're going to have the issues that we've had in the past where people freak out because of the cold. We're just trying to keep people out of the hurt locker with the heat is the main key. So, it's all up in the air. We don't know how Spartan's going to do with this whole. Now, you said Everett's a Tough Mudder guy, but it's kind of up in the air. Hopefully, they'll do a great job, and that's what we're all we're all praying for, and show up and do the best we can.
Yeah, one thing I did ask him that you should watch my video with him as well, which is right here on this channel. Like and subscribe right now. Is penalties are back to being at the loop, not at Race Center. Remember how they did that?
Yeah, it was like wasn't it 2 years ago? It was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
I can't
Even
remember.
last year.
Either way, if you fail something, you're going to do the penalty right there. Some are distance,
Yeah.
some are carries. I hope they get away from the goofiness. I'm sorry, guys. I love fun. I love rubber duckies. I'm good with all that stuff. But I don't. Two penalties that are silly are not cool. Like, just come on, make them legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a race. I mean, you want to have fun, but it's a freaking race.
Right.
You know, and I think when you get too goofy with it, it takes away from the seriousness of the race.
Well, it takes away from the competitive piece, and then it becomes
that's
more arbitrary of who gets the different fucking weird Lego penalties. I'm just not a fan of that stuff. And Kyle loved it, and he admitted he went too far the first time, but then they still didn't quite pull it back enough for my taste. So
Yeah.
let's hope that you know, I mean, yeah.
It's
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I go out there to race. I'm not winning anything. Obviously, might make the podium on an age group, but I'm not going to win anything. So I'm out there to challenge myself, and I think people just need to remember that this is Tough Mudder is presenting you an opportunity to challenge yourself. That's the way you got to look at it. This is not their job to provide the best experience possible. They need to provide an adequate opportunity for your best experience possible. So go out there and push yourself. Like Sean Corvell says, I feel like I'm going to repeat him and, quote him. Nothing's better than your best, but your best will make you better. What that means is push yourself as hard as you can, and you have to be satisfied with that. And they're providing you an opportunity to do that. And we go out there and we do it every year. That's why I keep coming back. So, if you go out there with that attitude, it doesn't really matter what they throw at you. You should be happy with it, right?
And there you have it. That was Jason and I. Do not forget to check out the other video I have with Everett, who's the race director for this year, and we go into even more detail about this year's World's Toughest Mudder. Love you, miss you, mean it. I've got to run.